All right, so we are back on the W.A.D.E concept presented by The Ring Magazine. And today, folks, I want to talk about one word: delusion. It exists to a degree I don't think I've ever seen in any other combat sports athlete, maybe Conor McGregor, but I don't really see it even that level when we're talking about what Jake Paul is going to try to do versus Anthony Joshua. Not just beat him, but in Jake Paul's own words, and we'll get into it in a second, he wants to and thinks he will knock Anthony Joshua out cold. And I think a lot of things are happening right now. People are on one end of the spectrum saying Anthony Joshua is going to flatline Jake in under 30 seconds, and if it goes past that, then AJ's a fraud and his time in the sport is done. I don't necessarily agree with that, and I'll explain why later. The other side is going, you know what? Jake might actually catch AJ. Jake might actually shock everyone because AJ got put down in his last fight. He got put down by Andy Ruiz. He's been hurt in a couple of different fights at this point. Maybe his chin's completely gone, and Jake has the speed and power to still put him down, even at the level Jake is currently residing in, which is only being in the sport for 5 years. I don't really agree with that either. I'm somewhere in the middle, but I'll say this. That word delusion I just talked about a second ago, it's Jake's biggest strength. It's the reason he's even in this fight with AJ. It's the reason that he's gotten as good as he has in the short amount of time he's been boxing. But maybe more importantly than that, this may be where his delusion finally leads to the end of Jake Paul's career. Because delusion in this business can get you hurt real bad. And I think for the first time, Jake Paul's delusional idea about how good he is in the sport and what he can do may have led him a bit too far. This is the first time where Jake is in real danger. Say what you want about money and prizes and everything else. This is going to end badly. What do I mean? The breakdown. Let's go. All right, so a couple of videos come out since the fight has been announced. Jake put a video out on his channel we're going to take a look at. His brother Logan put a video out we're going to take a look at. And then I want to go into the nuances and really let you guys understand how much a 5 to 6 inch height advantage, 20 to 30 to however much weight advantage AJ will have, and just the size and frame of the two. And I want to explain a little bit of why I think Jake isn't necessarily telling the truth when he just says AJ is stiff and plotty and bad footwork and all that stuff that I don't know is true, but where I think Jake is getting that from. Let's take a look.
They said, fight a real boxer. They said, fight someone your size. They said, fight a world champion. We looked at a long list of supposed fighters for me to fight. So there I was, on a Saturday afternoon in my $30 million mansion. Oh, it's hot.
Okay, weird flex, but all right. By the way, if you're a grown man carrying a bedazzled bag around, dude, you got to reevaluate some things. These all look like purses. I'm sorry. I don't know why you would ever want to be caught carrying that around as a grown man. I understand fashion is one thing, but this looks like fairy dust. And that looks like something my girlfriend would pack when we go on a trip. I don't know. I know it's probably worth more than my house, but what are we doing?
But as I looked closer at the list, I saw one name that stood out. Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua. That's gotta be it, Bernard! Fire up the jet! I'm going back to training camp. I'm fighting Anthony Joshua! MVP presents Jake versus Joshua. Judgment Day. December 19th, live from Miami at the Kaseya Center. 8 3-minute rounds in a professionally heavyweight sanctioned bout.
Here we go!
And yes, it's live globally on the biggest streaming platform in the world. My good old friends, Netflix, baby. You guys wanted me to go bigger? How about twice as big? Literally, he's twice as big as Gervonta.
Go ahead, Jake.
6'6", 260 pounds with an 82-inch reach.
Well, he's going to be 245 on the night because that's in the contract, apparently, that AJ can't be more than 245, which I have no problem with because you're doing this on short notice. Jake was supposed to fight a guy that was way smaller, and Jake had to be a little bit smaller at 195. Now, you got to turn around and put on some weight. I get it. Not that Jake was probably walking around at 195. He was probably still like 215, whatever. But still, I get it. And AJ's fought Usyk, a smaller guy, at that lower weight a couple different times as well. So no big deal there to me, but don't advertise him at 260 if you're going to fight him at 245.
Just look at us next to each other.
So Jake uses a cutout of AJ, which, why does he have that? He uses the cutout of AJ to see the size difference, but there's actually them interacting in person. And this was a couple of years ago, but you can see the size difference then. They're playing freaking, I don't know what this is, some sort of laser tag. And look at this, dude. It looks like AJ is participating in an after-school Boys and Girls Club program, dude. He's like, hey, I'll be your big brother for the day. You know what I mean? He's giving back to the youth. Jake is up to his shoulder. You know what I mean? Like, that looks like 4 or 5 different weight classes away from each other. And then that's not just a cardboard cutout. That's like how they look. This face-off's going to be insane. It really is the difference between Jake and Gervonta. Now Jake becomes Gervonta to Anthony Joshua, right? He went from looking down to looking up. I just can't believe. And this isn't some exhibition, guys. This is a real fucking fight. I don't see how Jake in any way, shape, or form thinks he can win outside of the, again, right hand from the gods. That's the shot right there, is the right hand from the gods. Unless he thinks he can go and stay at distance and outbox AJ with footwork and everything. I don't know, man. It doesn't make any sense.
2-time heavyweight champion of the world, an Olympic gold medalist. While he was winning Olympic gold, I was filming vines in high school. What'd you say?
Legitimately fucking insane, dude. What the fuck?
AJ is a knockout artist with fights that have literally...
Bro, how did he go from
vines in high school?
This face? Like, look at the difference in Jake's face. That's actually crazy. They don't even look like the same person, dude.
AJ is a knockout artist with fights that have literally ended in seconds. He's fought legends: Klitschko, Usyk, Ruiz, Ngannou.
Biggest shot I have seen live.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little scared. And yes, little Josh is signed to my enemy, Eddie Hearn. And I know Eddie and all of you naysayers were saying that I wouldn't take this fight.
I'm not sure Jake Paul's that crazy.
That's a fucking bad idea.
AJ's gonna knock him out.
He's going to get hurt. This might be a step too far.
Talk is cheap, my friend.
Calling Teddy Atlas a hater is crazy. But here's the thing that Jake does very well, is he very much listens and understands how to respond to quote-unquote hate or doubters, and usually goes about trying to, in his own way, right, with, you know, narratives and other things sometimes, prove them wrong. This one, I agree with Teddy Atlas, is probably a step too far in even doing that, right? Listening to other people say for so long, you won't do this, you won't do this, you won't do this, and then answering that call and doing it almost to a different level than even anyone asked for. Like, no one was like, hey, Jake, you'll be a real boxer when you go and fight Anthony Joshua. People were like, hey, go and rematch Tommy Fury. Again, he tried to, didn't work out, but they were like, hey, go and fight someone your age, your size, and you know, your experience level. And Jake went, I'll take all those things and then just go to a different level with it. Yeah, I'll fight someone around my age. AJ's 36, Jake's 28. But I'll fight the former gold medalist, 2-time heavyweight champ, and a guy that, you know, weighs more than me, because y'all say I weigh more than all my opponents, which is true. This one is the one where I think he went too far trying to convince everyone that he will do the unthinkable, and has done the unthinkable. And I just don't see how he hasn't put himself in the most dangerous, most, like, health-risked spot, life-threatening, legitimately, spot of Jake's career. And I mean that word life twofold. I mean his boxing life, and I mean potentially his actual physical health. All to what? Prove Eddie Hearn wrong? I mean, again, I respect it, but I don't know, man. This is dangerous as fuck. And we saw what happened. I know that Francis and Jake are different people, and we're going to do a full breakdown on the differences there and why Francis was a little bit more susceptible to being knocked out by Anthony Joshua. But I don't know who Jake's taking a page out of. Like, what book is Jake taking a page out of to say, I'm going to beat Anthony Joshua? Is it Usyk? Because Jake doesn't have Usyk talent. Is it Andy Ruiz? Because one, Jake is not as big as Andy is. And two, I don't think he has the hand speed or, again, technical prowess Andy Ruiz has. But he can crack. And I hope what Jake is not doing is looking at the Daniel Dubois fight and going, I just have to land a right hand. That's all I got to do. And maybe that's the case, and maybe he does land that right hand, but I just think it's so much more difficult than that. And if you try to blend down AJ to just the right hand he took, multiple right hands he took from Dubois, and go, man, his chin is just done. Ugh. I don't know. Maybe that's a fucking massive risk.
Friends, but guess what? You're not alone. My friends and family couldn't even believe I was taking this fight. I'm fighting Anthony Joshua. Are you scared?
No, I'm terrified.
I'm fighting Anthony Joshua.
The heavyweight?
Yes, the big boy.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
Are you for real?
I'm serious.
What's the world gonna say when you knock his ass out? Because it's gonna happen.
I know it's gonna happen too.
Jake Paul, excuse me, Jack.
See, that's a little bit of a different thing than I'm going to go in and, like, outbox AJ and, you know, like, keep it at boxing range and use my feet and try to, you know, jab, maybe a Devin Haney style, jab, footwork, stay on the outside. Again, Jake can't even really stay on the outside because he's given up 6 inches in reach as well. But he's actively like, yes, I am going to knock out AJ. And in any other timeline, we'd all point and laugh. And some people still are pointing and laughing, but I'm just sitting here going, what has he seen that makes him believe that? Not only of what's happened to AJ, sure, he's been knocked out by Daniel Dubois, another 240-pound champion of the world, but what has he seen in himself that makes him think he's going to knock out AJ when he hasn't knocked out anyone since Mike Perry? And Mike Perry, as we know, is not a high-level boxer. He hasn't knocked out a high-level boxer. He could hurt Julio Cesar Chavez, but Chavez knew to cover up and not engage. Maybe he thinks AJ will engage with him, and AJ does do some bad things in the pocket. Again, we'll save it for another video, but the only thing I can think of, and I said it at the beginning of this video, is Jake is absolutely delusional, and he's convinced himself of what's going to happen based on very outlying data, right? The Daniel Dubois knockout, how he struggled with Usyk.
Hey,
Who are you fighting, when, and why?
I'm fighting Anthony Joshua because I'm fucking him. What? I'm fighting Anthony Joshua because I'm him.
Holy shit, just let me take a second.
Is this motherfucker out of Dude, it's light work. Light work. Well, at least my good old friend Tyson Fury believes that I can win.
If Jake Paul fights Anthony Joshua, I'm putting £1 million on Jake Paul. I want some free money.
Smart man, Tyson.
I need to see a bet slip, Tyson. I know you got it like that these days. $1 million's like a, you know, like a slight 10,000 to the rest of us, but or maybe 1,000 after those couple of title fights with Alexander Usyk. But I need to see the bet slip. I saw the line when, and this is kind of crazy. I saw the line when the fight first got made, and we put it in the video. Jake was plus 800 to win. Jake has now moved to plus 650 to win. That's outright. I don't know by knockout. I'm not sure, but plus 800 was already like, okay, that's, you know, that's a big underdog. And Joshua was like minus 1,500, but now Joshua's at minus 1,250 and Jake's at plus 650. This line is closing, and I'm wondering why. What are people seeing?
Make no mistake, this is the biggest fight of my career. I'm walking into the lion's den. I'm doing something that no one else has ever done before. I, Jake Joseph Paul, will knock out, defeat, and embarrass Anthony Joshua Friday, December 19th, live on Netflix. My voice cracked, I'm still going through puberty. The biggest fight of 2025, USA versus UK. He's got the belts, the size, the history, but I have the balls. Be careful what you wish for. Jake versus Joshua, Judgment Day. He has a 90% knockout ratio, but I have a 100% chance of drinking this Celsius.
Okay, there we go. Ads only. Yeah, I mean, having balls is good when it comes to making a fight like this, when it comes to, you know, putting yourself out there and again, just operating on self-belief, but it isn't going to win Jake this fight. Him being ballsy is not going to win him this fight. Like, him making the decision to take this fight is ballsy. And we can all say it, and we have said it, and I feel like it's starting to become a thing where it's like, that's the only thing we're saying. I feel like everybody is just pointing out that Jake has big balls for doing this, and that's a ballsy move. And that's correct, but we established that already. So now let's talk about the fight itself. What about Jake's ballsiness is going to win him this fight? The fact that he wants to throw, the fact that he'll mix it up, that may be the worst thing that Jake could do is mix it up with Anthony Joshua because, again, you get into 50-50s with a guy that can crack like he can, 90% finish rate. He'll put you on the canvas. He's done it to so many other heavyweights. And, yes, AJ sometimes is the one that gets clipped in exchanges like that, with the left hook especially, but we'll do a more comprehensive breakdown in the future. It better be more than that. It better be something they are seeing outside of just AJ's chin. How do you get to it? That's the real question. If you think his chin is suspect, can you get to it? And how many times are you going to get the opportunity before he gets to you? How do you weigh that, everything else? Anyway, Logan actually made a video where he talked to Daniel Cormier, of all people, DC, my guy. And here's what the consensus of fighters are starting to say about this AJ and Jake fight.
Dude, it's real.
It's fun.
It's real.
There's got to be some rules in place for Anthony not to.
Dude, I don't think there's rules.
Come on.
I swear to God.
I keep telling people this, right? And this is where people fucking up, especially these MMA dudes. I keep saying, stop treating Jake like he's.
Is DC wearing a picture of DC on, like, embroidered, holding a golf flag stick on his shirt? Is that like his own merch? Or is that something I'm missing? Because the guy does look a little bit, you know, portly, a little heavy set. That doesn't look like Tiger Woods. It looks like Tiger Foods, you know what I'm saying?
Not a boxer.
Yeah.
It's been 5 years now of pure boxing with great coaches and great training partners. He's gotten a lot better.
He's gotten a lot better.
He can fight, man.
Yeah, but what about Anthony Joshua, man?
That's bad, bro. Mar was like,
Why you say that like that?
Cause bro, like Francis went and fought him.
Oh, I said, Jake, did you see what he did to Francis? He's like, Francis is light work too.
Here's also, oh my God, yeah, he is kind of crazy. Francis wasn't training boxing at the level.
Yeah, we get it.
Because I would imagine if Jake gets hurt, he knows how to hold like a boxer. Because in boxing, you know, you got to go clinch when you get hurt. Francis was kind of like just standing there. Listen to me right here. Let me tell you this. He fights Anthony Joshua with no parameters in place. Y'all better give Jake Paul his credit.
Yeah.
I will, because that's fucking, it's brave.
Queen.
It's a fair take right there from DC. He made a couple of good points. Number one, the idea that Jake is fighting AJ with no parameters, being all credit to Jake, we've all established that, right? That's number one. The other thing that DC knows, which a lot of people that fight Jake underestimate him to a massive degree, and they get surprised on fight night. Whatever you want to say about the opponent's selection, about where they're at in their careers versus where they were in their primes, or the size difference, whatever. There's only been a few guys that took Jake seriously and didn't look at him as the quote-unquote YouTuber. Guys like Tommy Fury, Anderson Silva, obviously Mike Perry. Other people didn't really do that, right? Other people, even Nate Diaz kind of looked at him like, we'll see. But Jake has been doing this, DC says 5 years. It's been more like 6, almost 7 years that Jake has been actively training and fighting in boxing. So the more you underestimate him by going, he's green, he's a YouTuber, he's still got some skill. He still has some technique. Maybe not the highest level. And again, because you can't make up for lost time, as much money and time as Jake has thrown at this, there's still a gap of 18 to 19 years where he didn't even think about boxing. So there is going to be a skill gap there, but he's making it up rather quickly, and they believe he has the skill level to hang with AJ, which I think is crazy. But I do like the idea that DC's bringing up here. Like, you better not underestimate him, and I hope that AJ, who has kind of been around this scene with KSI, even with Jake before, and he's been around some of the influencers, I hope he understands that, again, I know this is crazy to say, but you can't just treat him like anybody. Like what AJ treated Francis, like dead serious, I'm here for a job, I'm going to show up and flatline you. That's the way he has to enter this fight with Jake. You can't come in like, we're just going to move about, like this will be fun. No. And I don't expect AJ to do that because I watched him flatline Francis. After Francis came in and put down Tyson Fury and kind of made a mockery of boxing, AJ's like, let me go ahead and get that back for the Marquess of Queensberry. So that's a good point from DC. The second good point is that, we keep doing this thing where we compare the AJ Francis fight to AJ and Jake. And again, we go back to that experience. Francis was not a polished boxer. And we'll do a full breakdown on that fight. And I'm going to show you guys where AJ picked up on very quickly Francis was out of his depth. And it was very simple things that AJ did in the sense of boxing that Francis had never seen before to put Francis on his ass multiple times and then eventually hit him with the one-hitter quitter. Jake's going to be a little bit tougher to fool, but again, they both have boxing tools. They both know how to make boxing reads. What it's going to come down to now is that even Jake doesn't have the time and reps and experience and speed, power, and ability, honestly, that AJ has in this sport. So what makes up the ground? For Francis, it was size and power and a little bit of speed. Jake doesn't have any of that. I mean, he has speed. He does have power, but he doesn't have it to that level. So is it going to be his feet? Is it going to be, like, what's your X factor to get you to the point where you're dangerous for AJ, right? The only real danger for AJ is this massive pressure on him to shut Jake up, stop him, don't even make this look competitive. And if you want to say that's pressure, and we've seen AJ in pressure cookers before. He's performed well in some, not so much in others, but this is not like championship pressure. This is, you better do away with the quote-unquote YouTube. Will that affect AJ? I don't think so. I think he, again, had the same pressure with Francis, but he went and did the business there. But good points from DC. Again, a realistic look there at, like, you better take him serious, because if you don't, he can expose you. He can make you look bad. And again, we've already said if Jake goes 3 rounds, it looks bad, right? It kind of does for the former 2-time heavyweight champion of the world. If Jake survives the whole thing, Jesus Christ, it looks awful. Right? AJ might have to retire if Jake survives the whole thing. Like, that's how bad this would look. You got to take him serious. And just one more thing before we get out of here. I started this video talking about the delusion of Jake Paul and how it's his greatest strength, but potentially his greatest weakness as well, right? And I think this will be the fight where it potentially showcases why it's a weakness, right? It can be a weakness, right? Delusional people in most walks of life, they're so deeply entrenched in what they believe that they will be successful to some degree. And sometimes to a degree we can't even understand because of that delusion. But But eventually, they run into an answer that they didn't expect, right? Jake kind of ran into that with Tommy Fury, and that had to be reset. And now his confidence, again, is at an all-time high, delusional confidence, I would say. And I think he's going to run into an issue here. But the question about why he's at that point where he's like, yes to the AJ fight. I mean, yes, money, viewers, everything else, but it's also because he believes in this right hand. Let me take you back to a clip from when Jake was sparring for Mike Tyson. Now, again, he's not sparring a high-level heavyweight here, not sparring a guy that's ever won a world championship, competed for one, ever been probably top 50 or 100. But what he does here is what he believes he can do to AJ. Guy hits him with a 1-2, doesn't really hit him with it. Jab lands, right hand, Jake kind of rolls. Guy gets a little cocky with him, kind of drops his guard a little bit. Boom. Right hand over the top, nasty overhand. My man does the stanky leg one time, turns into a B-boy. Bang. And it's that quick. Off the back foot in probably 18-ounce gloves with headgear on. Boom. On the chin, drops the guy. Again, other factors at play here. This guy is walking onto the shot, guards down, thinking, yeah, I just landed that 1-2. Let me cock the arm for some reason, step in on this jab and throw it again. Except Jake gets underneath it and clips him right on the chin. Can that happen in the AJ fight? Yeah, it can. Guess why? Because AJ has a pattern of hurting people. Andy Ruiz. Hell, even Francis Ngannou, if you go back and watch that fight, which we will, clipped him with a left hook after AJ hurt Francis and then tried to swarm him. There are times where AJ loses his form, especially when he's on the attack after he's hurt someone. There are moments where he loses his form, drops his hands, and wants to swing with his chin up in the air and his head on center line. And again, the Dubois fight, the first time AJ gets dropped, he's throwing a combination, circling out with his hand low, no defense, and Dubois clips him with an overhand on the chin, and AJ hits the canvas. This is why Jake believes he can knock him out. 1,000%. It's the combination of him going, and I'm not just talking about this instance. There's probably more spars behind the scenes where Jake has had success with heavyweights. And he probably generalizes the guys he's seen with AJ. And maybe there's some connection there. Hey, he's got heavyweights in camp. Hey, yeah, I sparred, Klitschko. I sparred AJ. I sparred this heavyweight, that heavyweight. And I did okay with them, and they weren't that powerful. You hit harder than that heavyweight. Those talks happen, and these sparring partners may be telling Jake, and that may or may not be true. That could be them trying to make more money in camp or be there for longer or whatever else. But again, someone like Jake takes that, takes the fact that he's dropped that guy, takes the fact that AJ's been dropped in his last fight and knocked out, takes all this talk about how Jake won't fight the guy we want him to fight. Jake is not on the level he thinks he is. Jake is only fighting old retired MMA guys, old retired boxers, smaller boxers, not in his weight class, not at his age, not at his skill level. And all this morphs into, fuck it, I'm ready now. Not I'm ready in the future, not we may do it in 2026. I'm ready now to make that statement. And that's why I think Jake is taking this fight. I think that's why Jake believes what he says. Like, people will get in this comment section later and say, Jake doesn't even believe he'll knock him out. He's just doing this for the payday. You're wrong. I 1,000% guarantee you Jake thinks he's going to knock him out. Do I think Jake will knock him out? No. I think that's far less probable than the reality of this fight being Jake getting hurt very badly. But I believe he thinks it 100%. And now we go to the other side of that delusion, which is the big weakness of it, which all that stuff combined, the reason Jake thinks the way he does, you can get surprised in a big way when what you think and what you believe is not reality. I think that's what is probably going to happen in this fight. I mean, you look at AJ, Sim working with Ben Davison, and he doesn't move like a regular heavyweight at that size and frame. Like, he's a big, powerful, fast dude, man. He is fast, and he's got a reach on him. And while he's using his inside fighting here, I think he's best when he's utilizing his jab and then getting to the right hand. But you see, maybe AJ doesn't move like a cruiserweight or he doesn't move like a light heavyweight, but I don't see, this is just mitt work, but I don't see stiffness. I don't see slow. I see fast and powerful. I see dangerous with both hands, right? I see clubbing shots and I see speed shots. I see up and down shots. We'll get into more videos where AJ does this in his fights. Go back and watch the Francis fight and watch how he walked Francis onto the pull right hand and how efficiently AJ set it up and landed it. Go back and watch him even in the Dubois fight when he was hurt multiple times and still dangerous after being down on the canvas 3 or 4 times, wobbling Dubois in the 5th round of that fight. And I don't think Jake hits like Dubois does, but that's not the point. The point is, it's not as easy as just the guys that Jake has dropped in sparring. It's not as easy as I can punch like a heavyweight because I've seen the guys across from me in sparring. AJ will be no different. That dude is different, a genetic freak. And if the only thing you're banking on is he doesn't have a chin, this could be the most rude wake-up call I've ever seen in boxing. Legitimately. This could be one of the most damaging fights you have ever seen in boxing. Career-ending, life-altering. I'm not saying that as a joke. I legitimately think that could be a possibility at play here, which is why, again, you have to give respect to Jake for doing it. And you look at the way AJ approached the Francis Ngannou fight, you have to respect that as well. But that's it, folks. We're going to wait and see what this first press conference looks like tomorrow. As you see this video, the press conference will be tomorrow. We'll break that down, come back. But the word of the day today was delusion in the form of Jake Paul's mindset. Will it be his greatest strength and propel him to do something that almost no one thinks he can do in this AJ fight? Or will it be the reason for his perpetual downfall in taking this fight with AJ and thinking he was ready and not only being exposed, but being hurt very, very badly? I tend to lead toward the latter, but I don't have those answers. So we're only 30 days away, I think, as I record this video. December 19th is coming soon. I guess we'll find out.